In the outskirts of a bustling city, where the noise fades into silence and forgotten buildings crumble into dust, there lived a stray dog named Bruno. Though no one had ever called him by name, he had one once, long ago, when he belonged to a family. A big dog, strong and loyal, Bruno had once known the warmth of a bed and the joy of companionship. But time has a way of erasing even the deepest bonds when life takes a wrong turn. Bruno's story began on a rainy winter night when his owners moved away and left him behind in their yard. At first, he waited patiently at the gate. He didn't bark or cry. He simply waited. One day passed, then two, then a week, but no one came back for him. Eventually, hunger forced him to climb over the fence and venture out into the world. He wandered aimlessly through alleyways, scavenging for scraps and hiding from people. Trust, once his greatest strength, was now his deepest fear. Months passed. Bruno grew thinner. His once shiny coat became tangled and patchy. A scar above his right eye told a story of a fight for food, and his limp revealed an old injury that never healed properly. He had become a ghost in the neighborhood, seen by many, helped by none. People often tossed him half-eaten leftovers, but no one dared approach him. His eyes, filled with quiet pain, seemed to say, "Please don't hurt me. I've had enough." Then, one morning, something changed. A woman named Elena, who worked at a local animal clinic, spotted him hiding beneath an abandoned truck. She had seen him before from a distance. Now she could see just how bad things were. She reached out to us, Hope for Paws TV, and asked if we could help. When we arrived, we found Bruno curled up on a torn blanket under the truck, soaked from last night's storm. He didn't move when we approached. His body trembled, but he didn't growl or bark, just silent eyes watching us, unsure of our intentions. We brought food, warm chicken and rice, and placed it nearby. Bruno sniffed the air, but didn't move. We sat at a distance, talking to him softly. Hours passed. Eventually, hunger overcame fear, and he limped over to eat. The next day, we came back, and the next. Slowly, Bruno began to recognize our faces. He'd eat with his tail slightly lifted. He even let one of our team members, Mike, touch his nose. It took nearly a week before we could place a leash on him. When we finally did, he didn't resist. He simply looked up at us, as if to say, "I'm tired, please help me." We rushed him to the vet. He had fleas, ticks, a mild skin infection, and an old fracture that had healed incorrectly, causing his limp, but nothing was life-threatening. Most of the damage was emotional. Bruno didn't know how to be around people. He flinched at loud noises, avoided eye contact, and refused to walk through doorways unless coaxed. At the shelter, we gave him his own space, a soft bed, fresh water, and the comfort of silence. For the first few days, he barely moved. But every time we came in, we brought kindness. We read to him, we played calming music. We sat beside him, without asking for anything. And day by day, Bruno came back to life. First time he wagged his tail, we cried. It was slow, hesitant, but it was there. A signal that hope had returned. He began to follow us from room to room. He'd nuzzle our hands for treats. And when he leaned into our arms during grooming, we knew he was beginning to trust again. Bruno's transformation was steady. Within a month, he was walking confidently on a leash. He made friends with other rescue dogs, even playing gently with a small pup named Coco. The fear in his eyes slowly faded, replaced with curiosity and, dare we say, joy. The scar above his eye remained, but it no longer defined him. He was healing. When it came time to find him a forever home, we were cautious. Bruno had been through too much to end up in the wrong hands. We reviewed dozens of applications before settling on a retired couple named David and Marlene. They lived on a quiet farm just outside the city, with plenty of space and a warm fireplace. They had recently lost their old Labrador, and their hearts were open to love again. When Bruno met them, it was like something clicked. He approached Marlene first, sniffing her coat and resting his head on her lap. David knelt beside him, offering a hand. Bruno licked it once, then leaned in, accepting the touch. It wasn't dramatic or loud. It was simple, perfect. He had found his people. Today, Bruno lives a life filled with joy. He runs freely across green fields, naps on cozy rugs, and greets visitors with a wagging tail. He plays fetch, barks at squirrels, and waits patiently at the window for his family to come home. The pain of the past hasn't vanished, but it no longer controls him.